Hey there folks! Why am I doing that? I don't do that anymore. Hey there folks, Nick here. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be looking at something, well, let's face it. I went on the internet last week and I bought something. You probably shouldn't buy this. Let's find out. So as I said earlier, I went on the internet last week and I have a stick welder, as you all know. It's fine. It welds bits of steel to other bits of steel. And I was welding, as you may have seen in my last welding stuff video, and I must have been welding for too long, and what I did is I overheated it basically. I reached the duty cycle of the welder, and of course it told me to take a break. I, however, thought that I'd broken the welder, so I went on the internet and I bought the cheapest welder that I could find on eBay. I'll put in a little screenshot here of the listing. I think it was $68 or $69. This is the cheapest welder money can buy you on eBay, brand new. Let's open it up and have a look. It's pretty well packaged, I've got to say that. It came in this big box. I haven't opened it yet. It took about 2 or 3 days to arrive. And someone has taped the plastic straps into it, so that's going to make it awfully tricky to undo. There we go. Alright, that's what I'm doing. Let's have a look at what we got in here. Silica gel, do not eat. And an instruction book. Don't need that. I guess the most important thing in here is the welder. So let's have a look at that first. Get rid of all this crap. This is what $69 will get you on eBay. Another silica gel, do not eat. So they're having a look right at the beginning here. A Ningbo Xuanhua, I don't know. Ordinary duty HO5VVF 3x2.5 square millimeter cable. Pretty sturdy cable. Actually pretty pleased with that. This little noggin here on the back. So if you have a look here on the back, there's a little noggin where the cable goes in. That was a bit loose, but just tighten that down. Power switch. Nice and sturdy. Seems good. There's a little earth point here, which might be useful if you need that, although I believe that this 15 amp plug should be earthed. So I'm not sure what the deal is with that extra earth. Perhaps it's a safety thing required on mine sites or something, but I guarantee you no one on a mine site is using this welder. I gotta say, it's really lightweight. You can see me holding it up with one hand sitting down, and you know, it's not light, but probably weighs about 5 or 6 kilos. I'm not going to take this thing apart because I'm not AVE, but we'll just presume that that is as it is. So here's hopefully a slightly closer look at the welder. So it's the MMA 200. It's the DC inverter arc welder. Apparently we'll go from 20 amps up to 200 amps. That screen printing there on the 200 isn't fantastic. But other than that, this is a decent looking welder. As I said, decent looking. Who knows how it performs. It does come with an electrode holder and a ground strap, of course, because what welder would not? So we'll undo that. Have a look at that electrode cable. It's kind of adhered itself to itself. If you can see, hopefully you can see, kind of stuck to itself where it was strapped. A little bit of a flat spot on the cable there that you can see. Not fantastic, but you know, whatever. Dinse plugs, that's nice. Silver stick. I guess I'll stick the electrode into positive. That locks in pretty well. Then we have the ground strap. No problems with that being stuck to itself, so that's nice. This is apparently a 200 amp plug here. Intertech Deutschland Bought Cheapest IEC EN 60974-12 GB ZWE CE CCS. Yeah, lot of designations on this. That locks in just fine as well. Pretty anemic ground clamp, I have to say. Not a lot of clamping force, and those teeth are not much to write home about. But, you know, good solid copper strapping there, maintaining the connection between the two sides of the clamp. You know, 8 gauge wire, maybe 6 gauge. 81 to whatever 81 to 10 square millimeters is, but it is welding rated cable according to the markings on it. That strap across there will help with some of the power transmission. All the bolts are down tight. And then we have the electrode holder. Now this has a bit more of what I would call a positive clamping force. You know, comparing the two, this is like level 1 wrist workout. This is like level 4. Yeah, definite difference in the spring tension. Even the sheet metal that this is stamped from, it feels like it's bending in my hand. It doesn't feel sturdy. Whereas this, I mean, obviously this is made of plastic, most of it. But yeah, that will hold on to that'll hold on to an electrode, no worries. Here's a pencil for, you know, let's just clamp that into the side of this pencil. No extra force placed on it. You can see I made a slight divot in the pencil. Whereas if you put this one on it, let's put it on the other side so that there's no... So the same situation. I'm not, you know, pushing this out or anything, the handle out to put extra force here. And as you can see, you know, the tiniest, let me see if I can get this to focus. See that tiny little mark there compared to, well, those are really obvious little marks. So a lot more clamping force on the electrode holder than there is on the ground clamp, but nonetheless, it will hold on to your workpiece. The obligatory crappy wire brush and chipping hammer. The welding shade, I don't know, can't see through it. Obviously, I got to say it's a very dark one. Looking at it just myself, it looks like it's probably, I mean, compared to my welding helmet or my welding hood, it's probably an 11 to 12. There isn't any markings on it that tell me what it is. It is awfully dirty and kind of covered in an oily film. You can probably see that in the reflection. But that apparently sits in this somehow. I'm not going to use this. In fact, I'll probably end up using this lens when I'm filming myself weld, because that will hopefully make it work better. But these apparently go together like so. Sort of push that little bit through there, and then you push that little bit through there. And apparently this is supposed to fold in a tad. Oh yeah. And then this little shenanigan here. Do you put it on the front? I suppose you're supposed to put it on the front, but I feel like it would be safer at the back. This is McFly, by the way. He likes welding. He also likes cable ties. While you watch McFly play there, I'll try and get this welding hood together. It doesn't want to go in though. Nearly got it. I think it's in. I think I got it. So that's mostly assembled. The shade come out again. Look, it's not fantastic, but you're not paying for the helmet. In fact, I think if you were paying for the helmet, considering this whole ensemble, everything you see here, chipping hammer, ground clamp, this entire ensemble, and the welding helmet, what is it, 69 bucks as I said? I guess now all that remains to be seen is, does it weld? All set up on my table. I got my electrode holder. I got my ground clamp over there. You can just see it attached to this piece of metal. You can see my welder just there. It's currently not turned on. Let's turn it on and see what it does. In fact, I said in the last scene that we'd see if it welds. Actually, let's see if it turns on. So here we go. Well, we've got a fan. We've got 16 amps at the very bottom of the range, which means we've actually gained 4 amps there. This tells me it'll only go from 20 to 200. So we've got 16 amps up to 201. Cool, so we got 5 extra amps for the price of 200. That's pretty good. Let's put it to 180 without parallax error. That's pointing directly at the 180. Awesome. It's pointed at 150. Pointing directly at 150 gives me 146, 147. Okay, I can live with that. 120, straight up and down. Okay, so we're starting to lose the accuracy a little bit. 120 shows more like 110. 80 show, oh, that's not 80. 80 is more like 70. 50 is more like 30. And obviously, as we saw before, 20 is 16. But if we go back to 180, you know, we can see 180 is perfect. I don't remember exactly the diameter of these electrodes, but as you can see, these are 6013s. It might be hard to read, but that does say 6013. Let's give that a go. Let's start it around that 75 and see what that does. I'm not going to use their welding helmet, I'm going to use my own. So I won't be doing a review on the welding helmet itself. And obviously I also won't have the shade in front of here to give you a better view. But let's see if this thing even welds. And the electrode holder seems to, well, it's a bit wobbly actually. In fact, the electrode holder doesn't seem to want to hold this tiny electrode. I might have to try a different angle. Alright, it's a bit flimsy, but we'll see what happens. Here goes nothing. First weld. Not enough amps. Let's bring it up to about 105, see what that does. I can't seem to get it to stay on. Alright. I finally got it to hold an arc. Let's see what that tiny little... It's not a terrible looking weld. Let me go grab a couple of other bits of steel and see what else we can do. I might also try some bigger electrodes. I'm going to grab this little bit of steel here. I'm going to give this welder the benefit of the doubt and actually attach the ground clamp to it. It doesn't have a very good grip, which is unfortunate because it doesn't have a very strong spring in it. In fact, it's just got a 3-turn, it'll be 1/8 inch wire in there for the spring, so it's not particularly strong. Okay, so the electrode clamp has a much better grip on a 1/8 rod or 3.2mm rod. So I think anything over 2mm it should be fine with. Alright, look, once you get it going, it welds nicely. Burns the shit out of the electrode. Turn that power down to about 120. Let's see what 120 does. As soon as I get to that center seam, I always get stuck. Oh, that's hot. Alright, well, I think as a proof of concept goes, I could safely say this welder works. Down to 120 with a 1/8 electrode on 1/8 material. I welded a hole straight through it almost. Let's have a look at those welds. There we go. So I've got to say a couple of things. First of all, your mileage may vary. Those are my first 3 welds. Well, apart from the 2 I did on the other thing. I lie. That's the first weld. That was with the 1/6, whatever that is, 1/16. That was with the 1/16 rod at about, geez, what was it about? Oh, you look back through the footage, it'll tell me what it was. I'll put it up on the screen now. A bit average. Didn't go well. Then I moved up to the 1/8 rods at 120. Sorry, 150 was the first one. And yeah, it's burning. It's working. Nice flat-ish weld. I turned the heat down a bit, down to 120, and got the weld up. It's a bit more proud, as you can see. So both of those welds are a bit more proud, but you know, your mileage may vary. If you're a better welder than me, I'm really only a hobbyist welder at best. I do it because I enjoy it, not because I have to. I certainly don't do it for money. as you can probably tell. But yeah, that's my first look at this IGBT MMA 200 $69 arc welder. I have to say, things I like about it. Number one, it's really quiet, particularly compared to my Buzzbox welder, which is just down here. Number two, I can lift this up with one hand really easily. I'm sitting down and my welder's below me and I can barely get it off the ground. So something to be said for these inverter welders that don't, sorry about that, something to be said for these inverter welders that don't have the enormous transformer inside them. I'm genuinely impressed. I mean, I only paid $50 for my Buzzbox welder. That was secondhand off Facebook a couple of years ago. On the other hand, this brand new inverter DC arc welder, stick welder, cost me $69 on eBay. And I've got to say, it's fantastic. It lights a arc, it burns a rod. If you know how to weld, you'll be able to weld things together, I'm sure. I plan to use it to finish off my upcoming 100 subscriber video and put it through its paces on the second half of my project. So I'm doing a back-to-back comparison between this welder and my Buzzbox stick welder. So you'll get to see how both those welders perform in the exact same situation. So it's probably about a couple of weeks away. It'll take me a little bit of time. But for now, guys, thank you very much for tuning in. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Subscribe and stay tuned to see that back-to-back comparison of a $50 stick welder versus a $60 stick welder. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, share it with your friends, and leave me a comment. What do you think? Would you buy a $70 stick, less than $70 stick welder on eBay? Would you trust your welds with a $70 stick welder? Personally, I'm quite impressed so far. I've put four welds through it, 2 rods, so I haven't had a huge amount of experience with it, but I'm impressed so far. And I guess the ultimate test will be that thing down there. Thanks very much for watching, guys. I'll see you tomorrow.
Jazz Club.